Actually, all of the bands kind of working out on one side. Curse OP? I don't know. We'll see. Let's see here. Ari, Cassiopeia, Blitzcrank, Rengar, Kassadin, and... Well, there's got to be someone else banned out, but it's not going to show for me. But anyways, so we're going to see Curse versus Ernst and Young coming up tonight. Ernst and Young currently 1-3, if I'm not mistaken, in the standings. Or it's 1-4, my bad. Curse currently 3-3 as well. So it should be a pretty interesting game coming out tonight. But Plog picking up that top lane Shen, it looks like. Tompu and Mega Milk's responding with Tarek and Misfortune. Pretty solid lane. But Ezreal and Sona responded for Ernst and Young. Xin Zhao and Morgana picked up on the side of Curse. Could very well be a Xin Zhao top lane, but we'll see if that one gets traded out. Amumu and Lux getting locked in for Ernst and Young. And then last but not least, Darius getting last picked for Curse. So that is definitely going to be a Xin Zhao jungle with that Darius top lane. Rather interesting composition coming out from both teams. I mean, on the one hand, we have that Xin Zhao, Darius, Morgana comp that's going to allow everyone to get kind of held in close and then stuck there basically while they kind of have to just deal with the rest of the damage from Tarek and from Misfortune. Really heavy team fight oriented composition, looks like. Meanwhile, though, I mean, on the side of Ernst and Young, looking at, let's see, the jungler and the top lane pick, you've got some really strong game changers there. The bigger deal, though, is that running that Sona bottom lane is going to leave them, I want to say, a little bit strapped for positioning. We'll give it that. If Sona can't get close enough to sort of deal with the Misfortune Harass and the Tarek stun, she may or may not have some trouble. Yeah, but it looks like it is going to be a Darius versus Shen top lane. And then it's going to be Xin Zhao versus Amumu jungle. Very big game changers on that side. Bottom lane, you've got Misfortune Tarek, yeah, versus the Ezreal Sona. So a lot of poke actually coming out from Ernst and Young between Ezreal, Sona, and Lux. They're going to have the ability to kind of sit back and sort of delay getting engaged on. Especially with the disengage and the shield that they might have. That one might actually work out for them later on into the game. But we'll see how that one goes. Sort of bigger things to notice here. Man of Steel is actually picking up heal on Sona rather than taking that exhaust. So it doesn't look like they're going to have any way to shut down any sort of really huge damage on the side of Curse. So that's going to be rather interesting to see later on in the game. Once, if all 5 members of Curse actually can get farmed up and later on in the game, there's going to be really no mitigation coming out on that side. I mean, obviously you do have the Shen shield and you do have the, like a Mumu, you've got the ability for him to sort of counter initiate. But I don't know. It's not something we've seen a lot of lately. Let's just put it that way. No one's ever saying it absolutely can't work, but I actually do really like the picks and bans this game. Sometimes you'll see people just take compositions that don't exactly sort of work together. They're just really strong champions. And it's not that that's a bad thing either sometimes. Really, a lot of times it's actually okay to just have really good strong lanes and shut down the entire enemy composition from the start. But seeing teams like this actually pick up a really good sort of cohesive team composition is actually what's going to make these games ultimately better and more fun to watch, because we're going to see the ability for them to turn around games or to actually get a lead and use it to their advantage if they do it right. But without any further ado, in about 20 seconds, this game is going to be started. Curse versus Ernst and Young. We'll see who goes on to take the win. and who has a better positioning for the win in the After Hours Gaming League. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I've been really excited. I haven't had the chance to cast a Curse game yet this season. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited to be able to be a part of this one this time. So without any further ado, let's get into the game. As soon as the League client starts to load, there we go. All right. So now I haven't seen too much of Ernst & Young this season, but I can tell you from this point, from what I have seen, they're actually a really strong team, and I think if anyone has the ability or the sort of the idea that they can take down an actual team involved in the scene like Curse, Ernst & Young is absolutely one of the very few that could do it. But yeah, so we're getting into the game here, and I feel like one of us has got the funny. Well, anyways, so let's see here. I do know that it's actually it should be a very good idea for us to keep an eye on the bottom lane for Ernst & Young. I mean, between Sona having heal and no exhaust, but I have seen, obviously, Simo29 do some really awesome stuff so far in the season. But we're getting into the game, so let's run down the players here. We've got Plog for that team captain up in that top lane, Shen. Meanwhile, Simo29 is going to be that 80 carry Ezreal, Man of Steel as that support Sona. And then Talif, he's going to be jungling that Mumu. And then last but not least, Harmonious Fists on that mid lane Lux. Over on the side of Curse, we've got Tompu playing that bottom lane support Tarek. Looks like an invade might be happening here. A ward goes down right on top of it. Liquid lands the blind bind, but no one is actually following up on that one because they didn't quite have vision of that just yet. So it looks like they're going to be getting out of that one pretty safe. Anyways, we got Mega Milks on that bottom lane 80 carry Misfortune, Curse Nuis as that jungle Xin Zhao. Liquid 112 going to be that mid lane Morgana, and then last but not least, again, Curse Hubert going to be playing that top lane Darius. That one should be an pretty interesting lane to watch too. Hubert is actually spotted out by that ward, and Ernst & Young is hitting off, and Ernst & Young is hitting off, and of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? This was totally set up before the game. Sorry about that, guys. We're going to get this one worked out. I'm glad that one didn't happen, and whoa, there we go. Okay. So, there we go. We got it fixed out. But anyways, let's get into it. So it looks like no real invades are going to be happening just yet, as that one was thwarted off a little bit. Both teams are starting out on the blue buff. Ezreal and Sona are already on their way down. Meanwhile, Nuis is getting a pretty solid leash here. Plog's sticking around. Nuis actually getting a smiteless leash on his own blue. Top lane is all warded up at this point, though, so they got to be pretty safe here. Curse Hubert is going to be able to pick up a 1 CS lead in that top lane. So he should hit level 2 before Plog, but they're both just going to trade this one back and forth, as they do have a lot of kind of early game damage. But Tompu actually getting into lane, taking a lot from that early blue buff. He's actually getting really low, kind of chugging away at the potions. But anyways, back in the mid lane, we've got Liquid. He did start the boots in 3, so he's gonna have the advantage of the ability to dodge skill shots from the Lux. So we'll see how that one works out. Meanwhile, down at bottom lane, they're just kind of establishing control of the lane. No one really wants to make any really big overextension and get caught out onto this one. Everything is kind of going pretty even here. Pings are going down on the map, but yeah. So this is kind of one of those times where you have to be really careful about when you establish control and how you do it. I mean, Plog here is still not level 3 at this point. He did start with those 9 health potions and those 2 wards, so he's going to have a really, really safe start. But on the other hand, you know, Hubert did start with... Actually, he started with 1 ward and a lot more potions. He got even a couple of mana potions as well, so he could early harass. When he hit level 3 earlier on, he was able to really establish control on top of Shen. Alrighty. Back at the mid lane, we've got Lux and Miss Morgana just trading this one out. 23 CS on Liquid to 16 on Harmonious Fist. Xin Zhao setting up for a gank here on that mid lane. Meanwhile, over at down at the bottom, Simo29 getting stunned on by Tarek. Here comes Nuiz actually ganking in on top of it. Liquid lands the binding on top of Harmonious Fist. He does flash right back out. Nuiz actually getting hit by the bandage toss. He actually has to flash out just to miss the shot from Lux. He actually dashes to a minion. He actually makes it out alive, and Lux is still really, really far back onto this one. Alright, up at the top lane, Hubert establishing a really, really hard control here. Not letting Shen get close enough without doing a lot of damage. And this is kind of where he's going to shine out. He does not, you know, even with the sustain and the amount of health that Shen has, early on, he really doesn't have that much. And Darius having a mix of magic and, you know, attack damage, it's a lot to deal with, especially this early on. So it's definitely something you got to watch out for. Alright, Liquid at the mid lane pushing that one up pretty hard. 40 CS, or 39 CS on that Morgana to 19 on Lux. She's actually starting to have a bit of trouble here. She did come back to lane though with a second Fairy Charm, so we could actually be seeing a Mana Manipulator come out on that side. We'll see how that one turns out pretty quickly. Could be going for a Tear as well as a Chalice though, so that should be pretty interesting. Tompu actually landing a Shatter onto Simo. He's actually getting really low. Meanwhile, Mano Steel is trading this one out with Mega Milk. So he's getting kind of creep blocked at that side. Pink Ward going down into the Tri-Bush. Tompu is establishing that control pretty quickly here. Amumu's heading up though. They might be able to hold this one off. Back at the mid lane though, Nuis and Liquid picking up a kill onto Lux. And first blood actually goes to Team Curse. 8.5 thousand gold to 7.2. 6 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. And let's see, Liquid actually might be heading down towards the bottom side. Now they don't have any wards just yet. He is actually warding just on the side of Race. Starting to head down. Amumu is still there. No, he's actually just going to ward the red buff. Really, really good choices there by Liquid. So he's actually completely, you know, just putting those wards down in that bottom side jungle really actually kind of sets the pace and the control for this entire game. Amumu is kind of waiting down here on the bot lane, trying to make something happen, but he's kind of stuck out. He doesn't quite want anything just to happen here. Tonpu actually getting a stun down onto Sona, but Talif trying to run forward and make something happen. Wasn't quite going to have that just yet. Hubert up at the top lane, pushing pretty solidly on top of Shen. Shen actually had to come back with a Doran shield and a cloth armor. So he's actually really needing to get pretty tanky here early on. But he should be able to farm under his own turret just fine. Shen is one of the few champions that has a really easy time doing that. Hubert, though, just turning around and doing a little bit of harass. Harmonious Fist actually dodging the bind on that mid lane just in time to make it out from that. Meanwhile, Xin Zhao is headed towards the blue buff. Talif heading towards top. He is spotted out by a ward. Hubert is going to have to back out of this one, but he could get pretty low here. Bandage toss lands on top of Darius, and they are trying to keep him from getting over the wall, but he flashes over the wall and actually makes it out alive on that. Liquid, though, getting the blue buff. Might be running down towards the bottom lane for a gank. Let's see how this one turns out. There's no ward just yet. A flash forward from Tarek is going to stun onto Ezreal, but he actually flashes and cleanse. Man of Steel gets out of that alive as well. So good play there by Ernst and Young, holding off that gank just in time. Meanwhile, Liquid heading back up towards mid. Plog up at the top, though, actually doing quite a bit to Hubert. And he actually had to turn around as he took a lot of damage from the bleed there. He's actually got to be really careful under this one. Lux and Amumu are heading up. Did spot that just in time. Tries to land the light binding under the turret, but he's end up going to take a little bit of damage there from the singularity. Meanwhile, mid lane, Liquid's pushing that one up pretty hard, trying to punish the Lux for leaving the lane at that point. Because he did lose. He did lose a minion wave when he did walk down to bottom lane for just about nothing. But Hubert actually taking a lot of damage up at top lane. Plog landing the taunt. He is going to pick up the kill onto Darius, making the score 1-1. Meanwhile, Curse is taking the red buff. And Talif is heading down. The ward actually just died before he did get there. And Luis is actually going to pick that up just fine. They are heading up towards the mid lane, though. Harmonious Fist might get caught out here. Lands the shield onto Liquid, but he actually flashes over the wall and completely avoids the ult from Morgana. Very well played there by the Lux, holding this one off just fine. Meanwhile, down at the bottom, Tarek is warding up, getting pretty good control in the bottom lane bushes there so far. He's actually getting pretty far forward. Lands the Dazzle onto Sona, but Misfortune's not quite there enough to back up just yet. Taking a look, though, 83 CS on Misfortune to 72 on Ezreal. Misfortune actually picked up a Brutalizer early on for the extra armor penetration as well as the cooldown reduction. The bigger deal, though, is that Ezreal's coming back to lane. He did completely forgo boots, but he has the BF sword, so he's got a lot of just raw damage coming out. Tonpu actually getting ulted by Sona. Bandage Toss comes in, the ult comes out from Ezreal, and Talif is going to pick up the kill onto Tarek, but meanwhile, Amumu is going to go down. Too many turret shots for his little health bar to handle just from that one. Up at the top, Huber pushing this one up pretty hard. And meanwhile, back at the mid, they're just kind of trading this one back and forth. No one really wants to start anything just yet. I want to make sure they land their combo. Darius is heading down towards the mid, though. For that side, Harmonious Fist. He's got to be pretty careful here. There's no wards to spot this one out. Darius coming in from behind. Liquid actually going forward onto this one. He lands the ult on top of Lux. And Lux is going to get completely focused down there by Xin Zhao before she's able to get off the ultimate. Huge control there by Xin Zhao, by the way. If you guys didn't notice, meanwhile down at the bottom, they're kind of trading back and forth. Megamilks is actually completely out of mana, so he's got to be really careful here. But Xin Zhao actually completely tanked the turret and stayed tanking the turret just long enough for Darius to get out of that one without taking too much damage. So very good pressure on that mid lane. Down at the bottom, though, Simo29 pushing up pretty hard. Wards coming out from both teams. Now the Tribush, let's see, yeah, the Tribush was just now warded from Ernst and Young. Up at the top, though, Huber, with that red buff, actually. Quite a bit to Plog, but he did come back to lane with a Giant's Belt, so he's actually got a lot of health coming out. That Doran's shield and the cloth armor is actually really mitigating a lot of the damage and the harass coming out from Darius. Liquid, though, landing a binding on top of Lux, doing quite a bit of damage, but he's going to have to back out of that one as he doesn't quite have anything really big to handle that just yet. Pink ward has gone down inside of this bush, and he's actually going to clear that one out as well. Down at the bottom, though, Ezreal and Misfortune kind of trading out back and forth. Huber up at the top, though, is actually about at half health. Talif and Plog are here. You gotta be pretty careful. I don't know if he knows whether or not Amumu is there just yet. It's not warded, but he could have. He maybe saw when he was forward a little bit. Huber pulling Shen into the turret for a couple of shots, but he's got a lot of health to deal with that one. Liquid is heading down towards this bottom lane. CMO29 backing up. Pink ward goes down into that bush. The binding lands off onto a minion, so nothing. No one getting caught out quite yet, but they are 4-man pushing this bottom lane. It looks like they might be going for the turret here, and there might not be anything that Ernst & Young can do anything to stop this one just yet. See Morgana trying to land the binding on top of Lux. Actually, Soda turns around with an ult on top of Curse under their own turret. Nuis actually gets really low, but he's able to flash out just in time. The Misfortune ult able to keep everybody from getting really too aggressive, but actually Ernst & Young able to hold off that turret. And Liquid actually getting really aggressive in that front side. He lands the ult on top of 3 people, but Simo actually the only one caught out by it. Talif, though, trying to get out and here and get the kill on top of Misfortune, but Shen had to ult down, saving the Ezreal. So both teams playing pretty safe here. I mean, of course, everyone's trying to make big plays happen, and they're trying to make, something really obviously just sort of occur in the game to really get a huge lead. But everyone's doing a really good job at sort of just saying, okay, don't take more than you can chew off. Everyone's being really careful about that one. But Huber actually doing a lot of damage up at the top lane turret. It is down to 500 health. Plog actually flashes forward with the taunt and the ignite on top of him. But he should be able to make it out alive. There it is. Let's see, Darius getting out of that one pretty easily. Meanwhile, up at the mid lane, Lux actually building a Chalice of Harmony and the Sorcerer's Shoes. Whereas Liquid came back to lane with a Seeker's Arm Guard as well as that Cage's lucky pick. Down at the bottom, Ezreal finished off his Bloodthirster as well and bought his level 1 boots. The other big deal, though, is that Mega Milks did get his own BF sword and a dagger, so he should be going for his level 2 boots pretty early on here, as well as that Bloodthirster. That Brutalizer, rushing that Black Cleaver on Misfortune isn't always ideal in that scenario. Usually just want it for the cooldown, the base cooldown reduction it has, and then the base armor penetration it has. If you go too far into the Black Cleaver, you're going to be attacking fast, but not really with a lot of really, core damage from it. Harmonious Fist getting his own blue buff at the mid lane. Liquid here pushing this one up pretty hard. Looks like he might actually be heading down for a gank here. The entire bottom side of the map is just completely warded by Curse. Looking at the ward coverage, though, really quickly, they just have the entire bottom side of the map just completely controlled out. CMO29 actually just barely getting out of that binding in time. Up at the top lane, though, Darius just going straight for the turret. Able to kill that one off. And Hubert's not actually able to just control it just yet. Talif is heading up for a gank on top of Darius, but they may not be aware that Xin Zhao is here. It's gotta be pretty careful. Xin Zhao is actually still here up at the top lane. Meanwhile, down at bottom, CMO29 getting ulted on top of by Liquid. Misfortune's able to pick up the kill onto Sona, and Tarek finishing off Ezreal. Meanwhile, up at the same time, up at top, he's actually going for the gank on top of Shen. Huber doing quite a bit of damage, but here comes Talif right from behind with the bandage toss. Lands the ult on top of Darius, slowing him down just long enough for Plog maybe to make it out alive, but Nuis is actually going to pick that kill up. Meanwhile, Mumu actually flashes forward to try to get the kill onto Hubert. Hubert getting really low. Lux comes in from behind, picks up the kill onto Darius, and Xin Zhao clears out that Mumu. Meanwhile, though, down at bottom lane, Curse is able to pick up that turret and then start towards the dragon, as the jungler from Ernst & Young is not quite up yet. They can't really do anything to stop it at this point. Lux did head towards top with that laser, so he's not able to steal that one just yet. So Curse picking up another small lead there once again. They're just sort of stacking these small leads whenever they can. It's obvious you know, they can't really make any sort of huge plays where they take out 3, 4, 5 people from the entire enemy team and take out a bunch of turrets. They're just taking out small ones here and there. They're taking a turret here, a kill there, you know, a dragon there, and then they're just sort of allowing that gold to sort of add up. It's 20,800 gold, 18 minutes and 50 seconds into the game to 27,200. So a pretty solid 6,200 gold lead there for Curse. Meanwhile, up at the top, though, Shen and Darius once again trading back and forth. Darius came back to lane with a Brutalizer and a Ruby Crystal, so he's actually straight up rushing that Black Cleaver. Meanwhile, Plog still has his Sunfire Cape, and it looks like Ernst and Young might be heading to take the mid lane here. Liquid almost lands the binding on to Lux. Let's see how that one turns out. Taking a look, though, Xin Zhao picked up his Locket of the Iron Solari, so he's actually, not only is he really tanky himself, but he's actually really a lot of utility in the team fights. You know, he's got the ability to zone people out, to jump on, to carry, and he's got the ability to shield just about everyone. Binding just misses onto Ezreal, so he's going to make it out alive on that. Meanwhile, Misfortune pushing up this bottom lane pretty hard. That is 4 members from Ernst and Young at the mid lane, but it looks like bottom lane is going to head down there just now. Tarek's sticking around up at this mid. It looks like he might be making something happen here. Liquid tries to land the binding onto Lux, but she's able to dodge that just in time. Hubert, no, looks like he was recalling over the top, but he's aware that if he does, Shen might be able to take that turret this early on. Xin Zhao heading up for a gank up onto this top lane. Wards have not spotted this one out just yet. Here he goes. He lands on top of Shen, but here comes a Mumu, comes in from behind, lands the bandage toss on top of Xin Zhao. Darius is actually going to have to flash out as he does not want to go down to this one just yet. And Xin Zhao is going to be able to hold off this turret alone. Liquid's going to be picking up his own blue buff here. And Lux is kind of hesitant about going top to help this one out. You got to be really careful here as Amumu and Shen. I mean, yeah, you've got Curse of the Sad Mummy, you've got the taunt, and you've got the bandage toss, but actually Liquid mid lane tries to... He actually lands the ult on top of Harmonious Fist. He actually fails the flash, and he's not quite enough to hold this one off. The Ignite comes out from Liquid. Sono actually gets here at just the right time, lands the heal, and Lux is actually able to make it out alive onto that one. Holy cow. What just happened there? I did not expect that one. Flash nerf strikes again. But really good Sona play there by Man of Steel, healing his teammate at just the right time. If he'd healed any earlier, the Ignite would have reduced the amount of that heal, and it wouldn't really have done anything. Hubert, though, up at the top, landing the ult on top of Tal if he is going to go down, even with the Shen ult, and Luis is actually just going to hard engage onto this one. Man of Steel heading up as well. The taunt lanes down on top of Darius. This one actually might work out. Sono ults on top of Xin Zhao, but he should be able to make it out alive onto this one. Morgana's heading up as well. Plog is really low. Binding comes out, just barely misses it. Man of Steel flashes out of the bush and makes it out alive onto this one. So, holy cow. I don't even know what to expect from these teams. I mean, I told you guys at the beginning, these guys, not only are they evenly matched, but they're really good. It's just that, you know, every little chance that Curse has been able to take a small advantage here and there. Ernst & Young is actually... This is a point I like to make a lot. They're losing slowly. They're losing very controlled. They know that Curse is ahead. They know when Curse can absolutely just tear down these fights, so they're not quite going for it. But every turn, Curse is just kind of ahead one step. They've got complete control over it, and I think that's ultimately going to be what's going to be the deciding factor of whether or not Curse can actually hold this one out, or whether or not Ernst & Young can turn this around. I mean, they do have Shen, they have Amumu, they have Lux, and they have Ezreal. They have a really good team that has the ability to turn fights around. They could very easily do it. It's just whether or not Curse is going to let them is going to be the bigger factor here. Plog up at this mid lane, taking down this turret. So this should be the first turret that Ernst & Young picks up. at the mid lane, 23 minutes into the game, whereas they have top lane, mid, and bottom turrets, the bottom outer turrets all down for Ernst and Young. It's a really big lead here by Curse though. So 34,200 gold to 27,000, 8 kills to 3 in favor of Curse. Ward's going down here on the red buff, so they should be aware that it's either about to spawn or it might be going down. Liquid though puts the ward down in the bush, and Talif gets hit by the binding, so he's not able to bandage toss onto that one just yet. So he's going to back out and push up this mid lane. Meanwhile, Xinjiao picking up his own red buff, clearing a couple wards. And at this point, everyone's just kind of looking for the team fight. They're looking for the next sort of, big event or the big play that they can make happen. Pings are going down here on top of Liquid. He should be out of range of those minions to be spotted just yet. But we'll see. He might have been a little bit too close, but there they are. Curse is working away towards Dragon once again. No one from Ernst and Young is able to just quite stop this. So that is a holy cow. That's an 8,000 gold lead for Curse. 24 minutes and 50 seconds into the game, 8 kills to 3. Up at the top, Shen is pushing pretty hard. Now he does have his ult. Takes down the top lane turret, and he's able to kind of trade back and forth with Huber, but he does have all the stacks of the bleed on him just now. Ignite goes down on top of Shen. He's got to be really careful. He actually got creep blocked a little bit there, keeping him in line. Hubert is able to actually ult on top of Plog, but Plog has just enough health to hold this one off. He actually flashed out and taunted away. Hubert might be able to hold this one off. His flash comes up in about 2 seconds. He's going to be able to flash forward maybe and pick something up here. He's really far away. He actually flashes forward at just the wrong time. The taunt comes back up from Chen, and he's able to hold that one off really well. So really good play there by Plog. Meanwhile, though, back at the mid lane, Ernst and Young is kind of stuck on the back foot. Ezreal's down at bottom. They only have really 3 members to hold this one off. They took a lot of damage onto that turret. It is down to, let's see here, it is down to 430 health. So it's really low. Someone from Curse could pretty much just walk up and sort of breathe on it. And it looks like it might be able to fall. But Man of Steel picking up an Oracle's actually at this point. So he's able to actually clear out a lot of these wards. Talif is heading up. Might be able to make a gank happen here on top of Xin Zhao. He actually bandage tosses over to the Wolves. Not able to hold anything off just yet, and they're just going to back out as a team. Ezreal's ulting that bottom lane, kind of keeping that one from being pushed up just yet, and he's actually still heading down there as well. Alrighty, so meanwhile, back in the mid lane, let's take a look. Let's take stock of how this game has been going so far. So, let's see. Misfortune actually finished off her Bloodthirster and her Black Cleaver, as well as the Fuhrer upgrade on her Berserker's Greed. So she's got a lot of attack speed and a lot of move speed, actually, especially with the passive coming out from how things work. So she's actually sitting around like what 430 move speed. Holy cow! I don't know that anyone from Ernst & Young is going to be able to catch up to that one just yet. Back at the mid lane, though, Liquid picked up his Zhonya's Hourglass and his Twin Shadows as well. So it looks like he's going for Fiend's Unholy Grail next. It looks like either that or he might be going for a Death Cap next. We'll see how that one turns out. Everyone from Curse is heading up towards the top side for the Baron. Tompu did pick up his own oracles, so they are able to clear this one out. Binding tries to land out on top of anyone just there, but it is quite a bit of a blind binding as well as a blind pull. They're just trying to make any sort of big play that they can happen. Xin Zhao is actually up at the top lane though. So if Ernst & Young is really careful, they might be able to force something here. We'll see how that one turns out. Hubert actually pulls Shen over the wall on that mid lane. Taunt tries to land forward onto just about anyone, but it completely misses everything. Talif actually gets completely focused out. He did use Curse of the Sad Mummy to hold everyone just in place, but it's just not quite enough. Plog and Plog and Amumu did go down. Misfortune picked up both of those kills. Liquid is just barreling down on top of Sona. Sona has to flash over the wall. Be really careful here. The binding tries to land over the wall, and he does actually just barely make it out alive, but Curse is able to just push down this mid lane and take the advantage there. That's exactly what they were trying to do with those blind pulls and those blind bindings from Morgana. They're just trying to catch somebody. They're just trying to catch somebody off guard and trying to catch somebody out of position so that they can just make something happen. And that's exactly what they did. So when they pulled Shen over the wall and he got completely caught out, having to burn his taunt just to get out alive onto that one, there's really not much Ernst & Young could have done in that scenario. But we'll see how that one turns out. Mid lane inhibitor goes down. Luce is going to have to flash out and avoid the ult there from Lux. And they're just going to turn around, and it looks like they're heading towards just backing out, picking up the red buff, sort of taking another advantage. Actually, they're all still here. Plog could get completely caught out on this side. Binding goes down on top of Shen. He is actually able to taunt onto 3 of the members, just keeping himself alive a little bit longer, but he does have the bleed going down. He's at about 750 health. He's getting pretty low here, but Xin Zhao is still not back from that last fight. He's actually pretty low himself. Okay, so Ernst & Young actually has a really, really good opportunity here. Hubert actually could get caught out from Simo29. He was actually backing in that bush. Flash forward comes out from Lux to try to land on something, but actually Hubert pulls Simo29 into his own team. Liquid lands the Zonias. Hubert actually goes down. Simo29 picks up the kill there, but the bleed is, or the Morgana is just enough to pull that one off. Xin Zhao actually running for his life through his own topside jungle. And I don't think Ernst & Young can make a Baron happen just here. Twin Ghost comes out from Morgana, hits the slow onto Sona. Binding lands out as well, but Liquid is completely out of mana, so he doesn't quite have enough to burst her down. Very good play there by Ernst & Young. This is exactly what I was talking about, by the way. With their team composition, you know, with Lux, with Ezreal, with Amumu, and with Shen, they really have the ability to turn fights around, catch somebody off guard, make small, tiny little advantages where they might be able to come out on top. Because, I mean, at this point, yeah, Curse is ahead 7 kills. Yeah, Curse is ahead 9,000 gold. But if 2 of your team members are dead and it's a 3v5, there's probably not much that you can do to hold that one off. So, you know, if Ernst & Young plays this very, very carefully, they could absolutely still come out on top. But it looks like Curse is going to pick up yet another dragon for their gold lead. It's actually increased the gold lead to almost 10,000 gold. 31 minutes into the game, 11 kills to 4, 46,500 for Curse, 36,900 for Ernst and Young. Taking a look at the ward coverage here from both teams. I mean, if we just take a look, the couple of wards that Ernst & Young did have in their bottom side jungle were actually just taken out, and Amumu actually might get caught out here as they are heading down. But looking at Curse's side, they have wards all over the place. They have complete vision over this side of the map. Talif actually just barely makes it out from that binding. And bottom lane turret is still pretty low. It's at about 850 health. So that might be the next thing that they go for. Curse seems to be heading down towards the bottom lane. Lux is actually out on top, and this is not where you want to be with a Shen on your team. You kind of don't want to be split pushing on your own and having Shen with your team. It kind of goes backwards. Actually, here's Hubert trying to land onto something here. Talif lands a bandage toss over the wall. Curse of the Sad Mummy comes down, but Liquid shields himself before it. Sona turns around with a crescendo on top of it, but Hubert is just too much to deal with. Amumu goes down. Plog turns around with a taunt, trying to cancel a Misfortune ult, but it's just not enough. Sona goes down as well. Simo29 about 450 health. Down at the bottom lane, Harmonious Assist as well just now comes up. Hubert gets really low from the ult from Lux, but Liquid is able to actually flash forward and pick off the Ezreal. I don't know that Ernst & Young is going to be able to do anything to stop this one. Nobody's up for another 20 seconds, and even at that, Ezreal is still down. Liquid actually landing down on top of Lux. Lux is really low. She's got about 400 health, running back to her own summoner's well. Bottom lane turret goes down. The inhibitor is going down as well. 4 kills to 15. The first Nexus turret goes down at the same time, and I think this is going to be it. We'll see how this one turns out. Humongous Fist. Harmonious Fist actually getting completely engaged on. Liquid picks up the kill onto Lux. Man of Steel getting caught out as well. The stun comes out, and Misfortune is able to pick that one up. The binding lanes down on the Plog, and it looks like Curse is going to go on with 4 wins and 3 losses in the After Hours Gaming League. Thanks again for watching, ladies and gentlemen. My name is InsigmaTheory. If you didn't happen to watch the stream live on my stream, you can catch the VOD over on youtube.com/AfterHoursGamingTV. So thanks for tuning in once again, ladies and gentlemen. My name is InsigmaTheory. I'll see you guys next week.